Hello everyone, this is RaceBase and welcome back to X-Plane 12. I'm here with the VSKYLABS Rutan Model 158, which is a racing plane by Burt Rutan, with Burt Rutan's customary interesting design features like a forward swept wing, these twin booms that have very powerful engines in, and this interesting tail configuration. It is a very unique plane, obviously, a tail dragger out of all things. And my goal here today is just to see how fast it goes in X-Plane 12. I had previously gotten it for X-Plane 11, but I had trouble figuring out how to update it for X-Plane 12. I knew they had made it compatible with X-Plane 12. The problem is, every time I tried to create a login on the VSKYLABS website, because I bought it directly from the website, I wasn't able to get the login email, even though I checked the spam folder and all that business. So that was a problem. But I had the previous email that they had sent to give me the initial download link for X-Plane 11, and it turns out that just clicking that link that I gotten before was good enough to get the updated version now. So the same link just offered me the updated zip. So good thing there. And I have track IR enabled. I really don't like this HUD that they have here, so I'm going to turn it off. Shift H is what I've assigned to turn off the HUD. I mean, there's no visible display for the HUD. I guess it's on my helmet, but I don't really want that HUD, to be honest. It's breaking the mood. And over here, well, unfortunately my track IR is not perfectly calibrated to actually look at the side instruments, but there's a lot of clickable stuff in here. A lot of options. The manual is 48 pages. Very, thorough considering what we know about the plane. It was an experimental plane and we don't know that much about it, but they've done a lot to make it work out. Now, it's a tail dragger, and I sure don't think I need all the power in this in order to take off. Or maybe I'm only at half throttle right now. Okay, there we go. We're taking off from Edwards Air Force Base, where experimental things happen. Okay, I probably want more power. The Rutan Model 158 is nicknamed the Pond Racer. And it looks like a Star Wars pod racer, really. It's called the Pond Racer, not Pod Racer, but it looks like a pod racer. So going at a healthy 300 knots indicated right now, still climbing. We're not crossing any red lines per se, we are hitting the limit on the power. Doesn't say anything about being in danger. I do have XP Realistic, but I turned it off. It looks like there's a red line on the speedometer at 460. So as I fly above the runway here at Edwards, I'm going to make sure we don't pass that. It has a fair amount of heft to it. Not the best rendition of Edwards in here, but okay. This runway seems really short. Well, 433 knots. Of course, it's not super efficient to go that speed down here. I could probably bring it all the way up to its red line, potentially. Well, if we were going down, maybe. I don't think it'll naturally pass the red line speed. So I'm just gonna start going up. we'll head towards LA. Okay, so according to the manual, this is a fictional variant of the Model 158, and that's because it is using the PT6 turboprop engines instead of the engines that it was meant to use, because then they can simulate the turboprop engine better. There was only one version of the Pond Racer, and that version had 600 horsepower electromotive VG30 engines, but we don't have a lot of information about that. The PT6 turboprops are more standard engines that people know the qualities of. Power-wise, it really depends on the variant of the PT6 that we've got here. Some variants of the PT6 have just about the same horsepower as the original engines, but some have much more. They're used in a lot of planes like the Super King Air and stuff like that, or the King Air. It's doing sort of an automatic fuel transfer right now between the tanks 3 and 4, which are draining, and then the fuel tanks 1 and 2, which just got topped off. Yeah, it sort of automatically redistributed the fuel. Yeah, unfortunately track IR takes some calibration. You can very easily pop yourself outside. I'll have to tweak the curves on it. Maybe I should disable it for now. So without track IR, it's easier to look at this stuff. The switches aren't exactly the most weathered or realistic, but then again, it would be sort of a crisp cockpit in any case. So for those who have not seen X-Plane 12, here's how it looks. I'm at full throttle right now. One thing about the plane in X-Plane 11, and that's still true in X-Plane 12, is it's sort of too easy to fly, including the takeoff. It took me a little while to take off, and I sort of veered to one side of the runway because I was expecting that I would lift off a little bit earlier, but it's generally very easy to fly. I mean, it's not like a World War II warbird, that's for sure. And of course that's because it's got 2 engines, not just one. But I think even the P-38 would be more difficult to fly than this, despite the fact that this has a lot of power compared to its size. Well, that roadway could use some work there. That is not the best rendered roadway. But here we can see the indicator speed at 434. But that's because we were going down. It's a speedy little devil. And you're certainly not going to get this plane anywhere else. Yeah, but it doesn't feel as crazy as it looks. And for some people that might be a bit disappointing. To some extent I was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't as crazy as it looked. But that does make it more pleasant to fly. As far as pulling G's is concerned, that's as hard as I can pull. So you'd have to go slower to make tight turns. The highways here look nicer in X-Plane 12 than in Flight Sim because of the signs. The signage really sells the highway here. The turns are sort of abrupt, but like they're discrete turns instead of smooth turns, but I do like the signs. Now I do have 4x2's photo scenery for California, so that's at work here. So your California might not look just the same as mine. They have a new streaming option for photo scenery, for ortho scenery, but I don't have that enabled right now. According to the manual, it can fly for an hour and a half, presumably with its full cruise power. Certainly is guzzling fuel here fairly quickly. I didn't load it up full of fuel though. X-Plane 12 seems to be running fairly smoothly, though it's got trees in places it definitely ought not to have trees. Well, but again, that might be the photo scenery's fault. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just gonna land at LAX. It's the simplest thing to do. But really, not even a hint of instability or wobbliness. I don't know how the weather is here right now, but it certainly isn't giving this plane any trouble. Maybe I should fly it around the world. It's a bit crazy, but sort of wish my scenery was a little bit better for other places around the world. Not all of it will match the look over here. Okay, how long does it take to slow this thing down? Not too bad. It doesn't appear to have air brakes, or maybe I have that map wrong. It has a lot of custom mappings too. I like the look of the body. It looks like proper metal with the bump map and everything. Certainly could be worse. Okay, landing gear down. It's an interesting sort of electric sound to the landing gear deployment in here. Not as much thunking that I would expect. I would expect more thunking just from the doors, but oh, it suddenly feels a lot heavier, that's for sure. Oh wow, it accelerated real fast there. I did not mean for it to go so fast so soon. Loses speed quickly and gains speed quickly at these speeds when I've got the gear down. Okay. Okay, well, that was a gentle squeak. Like I said, it's a pretty easy plane to fly, as you can tell from that squeak. I'm not applying the brakes right now, by the way. Too afraid of flopping onto my nose. Okay, it can do power slides. So, the Bond Racer is here at LAX. Whoa, it still wants to drift a little bit. But yeah, it's a nifty little plane, and right now, off of the xplane.org website, I think it's like 14 bucks. It's on sale, last time I checked, as are a lot of the VSKYLABS planes, including the SR-71, which is interesting to me. I'll think about that. But there you have it. The Rutan Model 158 Pond Racer, certainly a unique plane, unlike anything else you're likely to get. And with that, I'll say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.